Welcome all sports fans, all YouTubers, Facebookers, all social media across the nation. This is Uneducated Sports Talk. I'm your host, Clayton. Also, check me out on Educated Network, both channels on YouTube. So please like and subscribe to AC Uneducated Network, to my show and many other shows on that platform. And also Uneducated Sports Talk, where you can see strictly me. Now, pedestrian weeks, week 1, week 2, when it comes down to my predictions. Overall, 14, 16, and 2 record. 14 wins, 16 losses, 2 ties. Who would have thought that would happen so early? But it's redemption time, week 3, and once the weeks start rolling by, we'll get more familiar with each team. And this week, I did pretty well in week 3. So let's go with it. The first game was the Thursday night game, the New York Jets at the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns win 21-17. Thanks to Baker Mayfield, the number 1 overall pick. We knew eventually he was going to come in to a game. He was the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Oh, by the way, you got drafted by the Cleveland Browns. Thanks to Tyrod Taylor catching a concussion in the second quarter, he was eventually in for Tyrod, and you could feel the electricity. If you haven't seen my last show, speaking on Baker Mayfield, I suggest that you go there and check it out and see what I have to say about Baker Mayfield. He did his thing. He was dynamite. He put a buzz not only into the crowd, but into the players as well. People are moving a little faster, in and out of breaks a little crisper, those kind of things. Baker Mayfield's a real deal. He helps the Browns win 21-17, and the Jets and Sam Darnold, although Sam Darnold's going to be very good, they just hasn't clicked since week 1. And even in week 1, he started off shaky. So let's go with the upset of the week, the real upset of the week, which was the Buffalo Bills going into Minnesota and basically dominating the Vikings. Who would have thought that? The Buffalo Bills, they look out of whack. They had guys leaving at halftime. LaShawn McCoy is basically saying, I don't want to play this year either with these mysterious injuries he's been having. Not mysterious, but you know what I mean? It's not worth it. The Bills, the roster-wise from top to bottom, they are just horrible. The Vikings must have been eating that Kool-Aid because they went in there and put a big dud. The Vikings, in my opinion, were top to bottom the best team in the NFL. So you have the best team in the NFL, in my position, in my opinion, against the worst team in the NFL, in my opinion. It was a no-brainer. The Vikings dominate at home. Did not happen. The Bills came to play. Josh Allen made some big plays, and I'm very surprised they dominated the Minnesota Vikings defense like that. And the Vikings, oh, by the way, you get Kirk Cousins, and you're going to put up 6 points against the Bills at home? Very interesting how that went down. They get beat down 27-6. Did not see that coming. The Bills might have a little fight in them. They might. They play the Packers next week. They might have a fight against the Packers too in Green Bay. Maybe being away from home kind of helped them out a little bit. But, man, those first 2 weeks, they look bad. But that Vikings team, I don't know if this is just it better not be a trend for these guys. Because I have them as the best team top to bottom because their defense is always there. But now you have Griffin, who's their D lineman. He's kind of going through some mental issues right now. So Everson Griffin is a top 3 defensive lineman in the league, and he's gone. He could be a problem for those guys too. I thought they wouldn't need him in this game against the Bills. I was definitely wrong about that. Bills win 27-6, and things might be circling in that wagon for the Bills. Next game, the Giants at the Texans. I had the Texans win this game. I just said the Texans are going to come out here, and they're going to just put up points after points after points. And that did not happen. Once again, this is week 3, and the Texans have not found a rhythm in their offense, whether it comes down to penalties or miscommunication or not having a really good run game. I don't know what's going on, but the Texans got to find something out quick because they get beat once again. This time by the New York Giants, 27-22. Eli Manning found his weapons. Saquon Barkley is going to be really, really good in this league. Say that now. Odell Beckham over 100 yards with 9 catches. The Texans got a lot of work to do. Hopkins has to get over 100 yards against that defense. Hopkins got to get involved. Will Fuller got involved, 5 catches, 101 yards, and a touchdown. But Deshaun Watson, who got on late, maybe that might help him out. But Bill O'Brien is one of those coaches. He is on the hot seat, and it is boiling right now because his play calling has been very, very bad in my opinion. You got to let this team loose. Got to let them go, let the reins go, and let Deshaun Watson take over. It's still early, but we all know the percentage of 0-3 teams making it to the playoffs is very slim, very slim. Texans wound up losing 27-22. They go to 0-3. Still one of the, I believe, 2 defeated teams left. And the Giants finally get that W they've been looking for, so they go 1-2 against the New Orleans Saints next week. the Packers at the Redskins. I called it. I said the Redskins will beat the Packers. Now, I originally said they would win 27-24, but they wound up winning 31-17. Basically, having this game in hand. Aaron Rodgers is walking and running on one leg pretty much, but it also helps when you get bad penalty calls from the referees. Big discussions going on across the league right now about this roughing the passer, and it's all on Clay Matthews. Clay Matthews has been back-to-back weeks where he's been having a short end of bad calls. So I don't know what to do about this roughing the passer. They're talking about guys putting their weight, and they need to find a way to maneuver from that. That's impossible. You got guys who are 240, 250, 260, beelining for a quarterback, and you can't say, well, once you get the quarterback, try and lay them down and put a pillow under them and brush their hair as they're going down. That's basically what the league is saying. Clay Matthews getting a raw deal out of that. That helped a drive continue for the Redskins, which they scored points on. So the Redskins, not saying that was it, because Adrian Peterson was phenomenal, over 100 yards rushing. Alex Smith does what Alex Smith does. There's no weapons like Kansas City, so he's not going to have those big chunk plays. In fantasy, he's going to be a guy who will never disappoint you, but who will never wow you at the same time. So he's a safe bet, especially if you have a bye week for a quarterback. You want to get a quarterback, get Alex Smith. Just saying that right now. But the Redskins win 31-17. Aaron Rodgers and those guys, they got to get a running game, so hopefully the running game comes back. If not, it's going to be a long season for the Green Bay Packers. Still a good season, but a very long one, longer than they will want. Chiefs at home against the 49ers, and let the rout begin. At first, they were dismantling the 49ers 35-0. 35-0 at one point. And Patrick Mahomes is the real deal. He has the most touchdowns in the first 3 games of the season by any quarterback in NFL history. 13 touchdowns in just 3 games. Patrick Mahomes, no. Will he be MVP when it's all said and done? I don't think he will be MVP, but the guy's going to have a phenomenal stat career, and he might break all the records when it's all said and done. You think Drew Brees is riding high right now. Patrick Mahomes is young, talented, he's got a gunslinger mentality. And by the way, one interception for the whole entire year, 13 touchdowns, 1 INT. That's getting the job done. When they're in the red zone, they don't settle for field goals. They're going for touchdowns. When you have Patrick Mahomes on your team, you have a chance at quarterback, man. You have a chance. The Chiefs they're victorious, but that wasn't the big news of that day. The big news comes from the 49ers side, where Jimmy Garoppolo tore his ACL, MCL, and he is done for the season. Heartbreaking news, because the 49ers were a team that was trending up. I didn't see the 49ers making the playoffs this year, anything like that, but I saw them being 8-8, 9-7, 7-9, but trending on up. And with Jimmy Garoppolo getting hurt, the only positive is the beginning of the season, so he'll be back next year as their starting quarterback. But that is a tough way to go out if you're a 49ers fan. Don't want to see Jimmy Garoppolo hurt like that, and he did. So C.J. Beathard is back in there, and he's no Jimmy Garoppolo. But then again, Jimmy Garoppolo isn't really all that to what we think so far. But they wound up losing to the Chiefs 38-27. The Chiefs remain undefeated, looking like a team that's be destined for a playoff spot. And the 49ers, not so much. Raiders at the Dolphins. I had the Dolphins winning this game, and sure enough, they did win by a score of 28-20. The Dolphins and that defense, and the Dolphins are, looking good on offense. I'm glad they stuck with Ryan Tannehill for the millionth time. There was no need to go up and there's no need to get a Josh Rosen or Josh Allen, no, none of that. The Dolphins stuck with Ryan Tannehill, and it's paying off big time. They have explosive guys at wide receiver. The running backs, Kenyon Drake and Frank Gore, they're doing a good job in that defense. It's holding guys up. It's funny when teams depart from the Ndamukong Suh, they get better on defense. It's just funny about that. But but the team's looking better now. The schedule will get a little bit tough for the Dolphins. They have the Patriots coming up next week. But 3-0 is 3-0. Call it what you want. They beat the Raiders, and guess what? The Raiders are 0-3. John Gruden, how's that comeback tour going so far? Not so good. They got to find answers. John Gruden, it's Derek Carr's hurting themselves in opportune times. When it's first down and you're in the red zone, you don't throw an interception on first down. You just don't. You don't throw an interception at all, but not on first down. Give your team a chance. They had a chance to actually go up in that game. They wound up squandering that. Dolphins take the lead and then score again on defense as well. So Dolphins are looking pretty good. Top to bottom, special teams, defense and offense are looking pretty solid for the Dolphins. Now, will things come down to crashing? Probably not. But I don't see the Dolphins making this, big playoff push. We'll find out. With the Patriots struggling, right now is the time. And they have a big game against the Patriots next week. If they can somehow win that game, Dolphins are talking. In the AFC East, they're talking. So the Raiders go down. They're 0-3, and the Dolphins are 0-3. So the Raiders and the Texans 0-3. Good luck coming back from that. The defending Super Bowl champions, Philadelphia Eagles, are here. Have their starting quarterback, Carson Wentz, is finally back from his ACL injury from last year. And it was a tough game. We all know it's going to take some time to come back. He hadn't seen the field in 9 months pretty much. So that's tough right there. We're talking about Andrew Luck, who's seen the field now 3 weeks in a row from being out for almost 2 years. So let's not talk about Carson Wentz. But we knew it would be a grinded-out game, and the show was. I had the Eagles winning this one, and they provided 20-16 over the Colts. And the Colts had their chances to win this game. They had their chances. Colts are actually playing decent defense. They've looked good, and they've been in every single game the first 3 weeks, and we expect that from an Andrew Luck team. Now, the offense hasn't been going well, but the defense has been keeping them games. Same thing with the Philadelphia Eagles. Their defense has been phenomenal, but their offense is still trying to get up there. Got a lot of guys out. Alshon Jeffries, Jay Ajayi is out now, Darren Sproles, so a lot of weapons are pretty much gone. But Carson Wentz came back, and he looked efficient. That's all you wanted, was him to look apart. He looked apart, and things will only get better. Because let's be honest, he should have been, in my opinion, he was the MVP last year. Regardless of missing the last 3 games, I thought he was the MVP. But him missing those 3 games really hurt him, and they get to Tom Brady. Deservedly so, though. But the Eagles win. They're 2-1. Colts go to 1-2. So, Titans at the Jaguars, another stunner in our book. I had the Jaguars win this game. They came up short, 9-6. This is the Blake Bortles we all know. We all know about this. There's 2 Blake Bortles. When Blake Bortles plays against really good competition, as in like a Tom Brady in front of him, or maybe, I don't know, you put in like a Drew Brees or Aaron Rodgers, he'll come in and perform. A great game plan. But then when you face teams like the Tennessee Titans, who Marcus Mariota came in the second quarter, I believe, because Blaine Gabbert got hurt or concussed or whatever, he struggled. And I mean, you throw the ball over 30 times and you only get 152 passing yards out of those 30 attempts, something's not going right. That's on you as a quarterback. And we all realize that's why Blake Bortles got the 3-year, $54 million deal. But, at the same time, it's a reason why he didn't get the 5-6-year max contract, because the guy is just not all that good. After having a spectacular week last week, he comes in and he puts a dub for that team. They need Leonard Fournette back. He's the thing that gets them going, especially in crunch times like that. Leonard Fournette is the racehorse. He wasn't there. Hopefully he's back next week. The Jaguars lose 9-6. The Titans are just an ugly team from top to bottom, but they are getting it done. They're finding ways to get it done. They're now 2-1. Both teams are 2-1. The Bengals at the Panthers. We had the Panthers win this one, and the Panthers did deliver. They won 31-21. And a really good game. Look, Chris McCaffrey is starting to prove me wrong. I said that he could not run between the tackles. The man put up 184 rushing yards for the day on 21 attempts. So he is dynamic in open field. He's really good receiving. So if he can get going in the running game, Panthers will be really, really tough to stop if he can get going. That defense is already there. Now, the Bengals are nothing to sneeze at either. The Bengals were in this game the whole entire game, but towards the end, too little, too late. 31-21. The Bengals still look good, though. I do like their defense. I like what they're bringing to the table. And they got to find a way to survive. Right now, Pittsburgh is struggling. Right now, Cleveland is trying to find themselves. Baltimore doesn't know what they are either. So it's the perfect time for the Bengals to come back and to resurgence and actually do some damage in the AFC North. But right now, the Panthers are 2-1. The NFC South is looking pretty, pretty good. We'll continue to talk about that in just a minute. So, next game, the Ravens at home against the Broncos. And I had the Ravens winning that one. And guess what? They delivered. Defense. With the Broncos' offense pretty much kind of struggling, not finding their spot, the defense is going to always be there for the Broncos. We got Von Miller. And now you have Bradley Chubb. But the Ravens' defense is really, really good at home. We all saw the one road game they played, and it was horrible against the Bengals. But they come in there 10 days off, time to prepare for the Broncos and that offense, and they dominated pretty much from start to finish defensively. I like what they're doing. They won 27-14. And Nothing spectacular from the Ravens, but I did say that's why they're my Super Bowl pick to represent the AFC. Excuse me. I got them going 9-7, something like that, but squeaking into a wild card spot. But these guys, when they're really good, they're really, really good. And I like the Ravens when they're really, really good. So I think they can kind of put that on in the playoffs. We'll find out. So they win 27-14, go to 2-1, and the Broncos are now at 2-1 to get their first loss of the season. Saints at the Falcons, which is our game of the week. And we all know the Saints and the Falcons always have good games, pretty much. That rivalry is just crazy. But this one took it to a whole new level with the Saints winning in overtime 43-37. We had the Falcons beating the Saints, but the Saints came out there. Both teams played no defense. Let's just be real about that. No defense whatsoever, and it showed in the score. It showed in the game. Drew Brees is now the all-time leader in completions, passing up Brett Favre over 6,300 passes being completed. That's a great accomplishment for him and the New Orleans Saints franchise. The Falcons, yes, really good on offense, very bad on defense. Same thing with the Saints, really good on offense, very bad on defense. But who had the better chances? The Saints did. Who had a chance to win? The Falcons had a chance to win in the end. But for some reason, Matty Ice has been not heating up. He's been really hot in a bad way, I guess, lately when it comes down to having that big play. Ever since the Super Bowl, this team has not been the same. And that's basically saying since Kyle Shanahan has left the Falcons haven't been the same offense. Now, every offense is going to look good against the Saints. Let's just be honest. So it was nothing disturbing about that. But Drew Brees, bring those guys in for a game time. If you haven't seen Drew Brees' spin move on the Atlanta Falcons defender, you got to go on YouTube and watch that. He hit the O button on him or whatever button in his Xbox. I don't know. But he hit that spin move on him to tie the game up. It was crazy. The crowd was going crazy in Atlanta. A lot of Saints fans over there. And then the Saints win the toss. And when they do, march 80 yards down for a touchdown. They win 43-37. Both of these teams need help on defense. Patrick Robinson with a broken ankle isn't going to hurt the Saints. And, of course, the Falcons have a lot of guys like Deion Jones and Keanu Neal who they're out right now for a while. So Neal being out for the season and Deion Jones being out for about 7 weeks, something like that. So they got a tough stretch ahead of them. The Chargers at the Rams. And I said the Rams are going to make good of this game, and they sure did. The Rams, look, I apologize to our Rams fans. I said that they wouldn't be all that good. Well, guess what? They've shown so far, man. Now, they're going to have a good test in Week 4 against the Vikings defense if that defense comes to actually play. But outside of that, man, this Rams team looks dominant. They do have some problems, though. Talib is out. Like Marcus Peters might be out as well. Their best cornerback, so that might bring them back down to reality when it comes down to playing defense. But if they can find balance within that, they'll be fine. This Rams team looks really, really good on offense. They haven't had a bad offensive series yet, in my opinion. Maybe in the first game of the season. But outside of that, they've drive after drive, and it's not anything just big plays, methodical. No, they're doing 10-play drives for touchdowns, 12-play drive for touchdowns. They look pretty good. And wait till Ty Gurley is actually involved into a close game. He will dominate. So this Rams team looking good. They beat the Chargers 35-23. I had them 34-21, so I was pretty close, pretty dead on with that. But the Rams are now still undefeated, while the Chargers go to 1-2. Got the Bears at the Cardinals. Chicago's Bears defense comes in, and it didn't look good at first. The Cardinals were up 14-0. We had the Bears win this game, but the Bears do ultimately come back and win 16-14, scoring 16 unanswered points to win the game. Big news, Sam Bradford is out. We have Josh Rosen coming in now. He played the last quarter or so. He will be the starter for Week 4 when Arizona plays. He'll be the starter. How much will he do? We don't know. We're going to find out. But that might be the answer. They might open the playbook up a lot more with Josh Rosen. We don't know, but they have to find something because this Arizona team is looking bad. When Larry Fitzgerald has 2 catches for 9 yards, and that's it, it's not going to be a good year for the Arizona Cardinals. They remain defeated right now. They need a lot of help. And the Bears, Khalil Mack in those games, another sack for Khalil Mack. He is just on his way to being Defensive Player of the Year. Raiders, you could really, really use him. As of right now, the Bears are winning that trade. Big time as of right now. They win 16-14, the Bears. The Cowboys at the Seahawks. We had the Seahawks winning, and yes, the Seahawks did win this game. They win 24-13. the Cowboys' offense is just hard to look at. They don't go down the field. They don't take any shots. Dak Prescott hasn't been accurate. But let's give credit to the Seahawks. Seahawks did what they had to do. Russell Wilson is always fighting for his life when he's playing quarterback for the Seahawks team, but he did what he had to do, and they brought the running game back. Chris Carson, surprisingly, 30 carries, over 100 yards. About time, ladies and gentlemen, they find that out, that he can actually ball. So, good thing for them, because that running game helps out everything else. The running game is going good. Seattle was going good, especially when they're at home. First home game of the season, I had no doubt they would win this game. They win 24-13. Cowboys have a lot to answer. Their offense is bad. Zeke did go over 100 yards, but 127 yards, but a costly fumble late in the third or the fourth quarter, one of those quarters, a costly fumble for them, and they're going to be scratching their heads, man, because it's a long season, but 1-2. Jerry Jones said we're not hitting the panic button, but Jerry Jones is always going to say that. What is he going to say? We're going to hit the panic button? No. So I understand why he said we're not going to hit that button. My upset of the week was the Lions over the Patriots, and we got that upset. I had them winning 29-26, but they win 26-10. The Patriots, now, the Patriots always do this. It's been like 4 or 5 straight years. They just start off slow. They do. They start off slow, and they find themselves towards November, and they get really, really hot. But so I saw this coming in. Matt Patricia knows the defense. He knows the offense of the Patriots. I had a feeling they would win this game. They win 26-10. Now, Tom Brady had a very unlike Tom Brady game. Only 150 yards passing, something like that. No one touchdown. It didn't look good at all for the Patriots. They got a long road ahead. But if any team can come back from devastation, it's the Patriots. They do it every single year. So the Lions, look, got that victory at home, that first victory. Lions offense, when it gets clicking, it looks unstoppable. Now that you have Kerryon Johnson, who finally broke the curse of Detroit Lions not having a 100-yard rusher, and it feels like 70 games, they said, something like that. Reggie Bush lasted, I believe, in 2011, maybe. Kerryon Johnson is the real deal. He looked very good in this game. And if the Lions can open up major holes for Kerryon Johnson, he's going to take advantage of it. And, of course, you have LeGarrette Blount, too. So, great balance for the Lions, what they really, really wanted, and they got it. So, 26-10 is the victors over the Patriots. They go to 1-2, and so do the Patriots go 1-2. So, hey, you never know. And Monday Night Football, the Pittsburgh Steelers going to Tampa Bay. We had the Buccaneers winning by a close game. Well, the Steelers want to win by a close game. It was 30-10 at halftime. The Steelers were having bombs. Jesse James basically fatally destroyed one of the Tampa Bay safeties. Look, it was crazy in that first half. Fitzpatrick had 3 interceptions, but 2 wasn't really his fault, so let's not go with the whole Jameis Winston over Fitzpatrick just quite yet. But he wound up coming back in the third quarter and fourth quarter. They wound up losing 30-27. The Steelers didn't even score in the second half, but they didn't have to. Play decent defense, you'll be okay. And they ran the ball out the end. Tampa Bay Buccaneers couldn't stop him often. But Fitzpatrick becomes the first player in NFL history to start the first 3 games off with 400 passing yards or more. First 3 games of the season. He has done that. He's looked good when he had his chances. A lot of, Chris Godwin dropped a few balls, fumble, tip balls. Jacquizz Rodgers is 4 feet tall, so it was just a lot of unfortunate circumstances happening. But the whole debate is, will Jameis Winston be over Ryan Fitzpatrick for Week 4? In my opinion, I say no. I go with the hot hand. I still believe Ryan Fitzpatrick is your guy. Wait another week or 2 to see what's up, and then, if you don't like it, put Jameis in. You have 2 wins already. Probably 2 more wins you thought you would have the first 3 games. So stick with what's going good so far, which is Ryan Fitzpatrick. And if things get to not working out, then put Jameis Winston in Week 5 or Week 6 or Week 7, one of those weeks. So I'll do that. So we went 11-5 for this week. A great time to be alive. 11-5 is nothing to sneeze at after going 7-8-1 the first 2 weeks. So we have things going on, and so stay tuned for my next episode. We'll break down the Week 4 schedule and give our predictions. So with that being said, please like and subscribe to Uneducated Network and Uneducated Sports Talk. I'm your host, Carlos Clayton, and as always, sports fans, you guys know what time it is. Stay smart, stay uneducated. Peace.